Hello everyone, today we are psychoanalyzing Carl Rogers. He was a psychologist who gave us client-centered therapy and person-centered therapy, and concepts like congruence, unconditional positive regard, or empathetic listening. So what we are trying to do here is we are psychoanalyzing him and deducting his type using type grid, trying to find out which type he is, and then we are trying to correlate, okay, what kind of cognitive functions led to development of his theories or concepts he gave us. So let's start. We are recording data on the right using this worksheet in paint. So let's clear it out and start with the interview.
Diplomats, members of multinational corporations, people of that sort, and having them experience the reconciliation of differences within that group, so that then they might, I and my colleagues might create a facilitative climate there which would help them to move toward better understanding of each other, better communication, and where with that experience behind them, they might be able to apply it in the other situations in which they're currently
Again, he's talking about people of multinational corporations, international status. So he's being T plus Fi, and he's trying to bring them together in a harmony to work together, including his team members as well. So he's talking about being affiliative, being interdependent. So he's being affiliative, he's being T plus Fi, and also he was a little bit abstract there when he was talking. They might use it in different scenarios, but we are recording signals for T plus Fi, abstract, and being affiliative. So right off the bat, he's a NF. So I will open the worksheet right now, and yeah, T plus Fi being affiliative, and he was also being abstract, and abstract from the point of view of NE plus SI, because he was talking about possible scenarios they might use it in. And he was also being informative because he didn't specify which scenarios they might use it in, but we are not going to jump to conclusions. What we are doing here is psychoanalyzing him, taking in data, and then deducting or verifying his type. So let's start.
Living and dealing.
Carl R. Rogers has been identified for nearly half a century as one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century. His own books...
Last year in doing a demonstration counseling interview in front of a group in West Germany. The woman was simply paralyzed with fear. She told how
Name dropping, he named the university and doing it in front of group. So yeah, that's again T plus Fi.
her home was within dangerous distance of 5 nuclear plants, so that was a source of concern. There were missile sites nearby. The United States was about to deploy further missiles in that same area. There were fighter bombers going overhead every day with loads of bombs. She felt that any day she could be vaporized, and she felt absolutely helpless in that situation.
Again, talking about possibilities, fear that the woman might be vaporized, might fear. So he's actually creating scenarios from the data he knows. For example, he knows about nuclear plants, other things, but he's being informative and he's talking about possibilities that what might bad happen. So again, that is any likely in a pessimistic function, but no, we are just psychoanalyzing him. So yeah, we have we know that his cognitive functions are NE plus SI and T plus Fi, which actually makes him belong to the philosopher quadrant, that is STJ plus NFP. And from interaction styles, we know that he's an NF. So yeah, we have to verify more, take in more data to verify whether he's an ENFP or INFP. So let's start more with the interview, or switch on between different interviews for better uh, data basically. So yeah.
And I I felt that her situation seemed so much product of circumstances, I wasn't sure I could be of help to her. But I stayed with her as a companion to her in her fear and her desperation. Wasn't sure how helpful it had been, but a few weeks ago I got a letter saying that that interview had been so meaningful to her. She had tried to talk to other people.
Again, being affiliative, taking the interview letter that he was received as a proof or certification that he was being helpful to her, but in an informative manner, because he doesn't know whether emotionally he was helpful to her or not. And that is again an indication of lower FE, because you are not aware of the emotional impact you are having on other people. So yeah, that's 2 points for FI plus TE. So there is a worksheet here, and we are again, and he was being abstract because he was talking about the meaning she derived from the interview, that is being abstract again. And also it comes under NE plus SI, because meaning of other people is basically NE plus SI, and the meaning that a person derives for themselves is NI plus SE, because a personal component attached to the intuition is NI. Meanwhile, the general meaning attached to a intuition is basically NE, because other people find it meaningful as well.
And they always found her situation so awful, they couldn't help but butt in with advice or reassurance or tell her of their own feelings of desperation. And she never got her feelings all out. She felt very appreciative that I had really stayed with her, clear to the depth of her feelings, and somehow that had helped her to accept her fear and her situation, and made it possible for her to get over her paralysis. She now is much more active in the people.
Again, being affiliative, and he's being informative, he's not being direct, he's not talking in terms of direct, he's just explaining the situation. So yeah, that is 1 point for informative, and 1 point for affiliative basically. So yeah, let's switch on to the different interview for better clarity.
Push beyond some of the trends that are very prominent in the modern world, the logical positivistic.
Trends that are prominent in the modern world, that is a D plus FI statement. So here's the Typegrid worksheet. Talking about trends is basically T, because you are aware of what other people are thinking and what is popular between them. So yeah.
The ultra-scientific approach, the stress of a mechanistic and highly deterministic point of view, which as I see it makes man just an object, and trying to find some alternative stance in relation to life.
He was being abstract, and he was throwing in labels after another, because he was talking about scientific development, logistic point of view. So yeah, he's cognitive transitioning between interest and systematic, but so far we know that he's being abstract. So yeah, being abstract and T plus F again.
I wonder if you feel we're in some agreement on issues of that sort.
Yes, of course. In all these points,
Trying to take the cause agreement with other person, that is again affiliative decision making, because he's trying to take what you call it, the agreement from the other person. If you agree with it and I agree with it, then it's the right thing. That's the affiliative viewpoint. So yeah, he's being affiliative there, but we are still not getting any kind of natural interview. All of these interviews seem to be scripted basically, or kind of debate. But then again, we have to switch forward.
I have a very difficult and a very fascinating job, serving as counselor and therapist to people with problems, troubled individuals, people in a good deal of distress. And I'd like to tell you something about my job.
Again, I like to tell you something about my job, that is T plus FI. Taking that the job is difficult. Basically, he's again using T plus FI, but yeah, he's correlating it to his experience because he finds that job difficult. So yeah, again, SI plus NE and T plus FI basically.
This is Dr. Carl Rogers, Professor of Psychiatry and Psychology at the University of
Again, it's his self-interview. Let's start with here.
A technical job. It's why I'm in it, and it's a very easy job. And I feel very secure in it. And last year I finished up my undergraduate work because I was interested in possibly doing counseling, being a counselor. Because to me it's meaningful to communicate on a deeper level. And just for that reason alone, I wanted to get into it because that seemed to be very meaningful. But I feel like I've been procrastinating. I haven't been really pushing my life immediate because I'm not doing it. I'm not
Responding an outcome. He's not saying anything. He's not initiating a point. He's just sitting there and listening, and he's not showing a lot of movement as well. So yeah, he's responding an outcome based from that alone. And one more thing, special thing about Carl Rogers' theory is that empathetic listening is actually sympathetic listening, because listening is generally related to the T plus FI. You just listen to their thoughts of the other people. You are not actually feeling with them or giving them emotional self-assurance. You are just sitting there and listening. So basically that's the whole point of Carl Rogers therapy, to sit there and listen basically. Anyway, let's move forward. It's good for NFJs because TI plus F users like to express their thoughts, and because NFPs are their golden pair, so it works well when NFJs who are seeking therapy come to NFPs, or NFPs who are seeking therapy come to NFJs basically. So their being a golden pair or silver pair helps them a lot. But when it comes to the other types, the psychology made by NFPs doesn't work basically,
taking that step.
or the techniques in psychology doesn't work for other types apart from NFJs or STPs. Basically they're compatible types.
But it's like I find myself
Still not speaking. I mean, this is how the conversations are going. He's just not speaking anything. The Carl Roger on the left is just not speaking anything. How can I type them if he's not responding properly? Okay.
I've learned some things, and I know I've learned them, and I know that, okay, that I'm at this point with a certain...
In your own way, not necessarily following all the books, but doing what she feels and experiences.
I feel more, I was saying...
More aware of all aspects of yourself, and it sounds more acceptant of them too. Yes, I'm mature in certain ways, and here's some ways I know I'm immature.
And I didn't know that before. I knew, I felt uncomfortable, but I didn't understand it.
Basically what he's doing is he's listening to her thoughts, giving a vague interpretation. Basically he's taking in her thoughts, packaging them and giving it to her again, so that she agrees with him and then moves forward. Basically in client-centered therapy, if you are an introvert, it's good for you because you are T plus FI user as well, so it's automatically good for you because you are listening to the other person and letting the other person initiates his point. But if the other person is introvert, then you have an issue basically. So you have to switch between your psyches to compensate for them. So yeah, so far the data we have, he seems to be an INFP basically. So yeah, I will go with INFP. So Carl Rogers is an INFP belonging to Philosopher Quadra. And thank you for giving us the client-centered therapy based on your experience and research. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching, and if you like this channel, hit subscribe, like and follow and share it with other people as well. Thank you.